My name is Adrian Cocking, and this is the Train of Thought podcast. Here, we talk all things children's television and its impact on kids, both young and old. Television played a huge role in my childhood, offering nurturing, guidance, and above all, emotional connection. Now, as a psychotherapist who works with kids, I see how important these things are. Join me as we meet the talented cast and crew behind these iconic shows, explore their connection to kids' entertainment, and encounter a few surprises along the way. This is your ticket to my train of thought. Welcome everyone officially to our part 2 of our Shining Time Station podcast with all the cast and crew here, and we have a couple returnees here. We got Rick Siggelkow, our producer. We have Craig and Olga, our puppeteers, and Didi, our lovely station master, Stacy Jones here. And we have some new faces. We have Brian, who is our lovable rogue schemer. We've got Danielle, our lovely Becky, and we have Jonathan, our Tito swing. Welcome, everyone. Oh, it's great to have you here. So, Didi, we were just chatting a little bit before about Danielle and how young she was when she last saw all of you, and what it was like for her acting in sort of like an adult world.
Well, I just watched the George Carlin special.
Oh,
yes. She and Jason are in it. They pointed, they showed just a clip of Shining Time.
No way.
Oh. Yeah, Danielle and Jason.
We were waiting for it. We watched it too.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, that's incredible.
And George's daughter said he really loved being part of the show. He enjoyed it so much. So that touched our hearts.
Yes, that was wonderful.
I'll have to watch it. It sounds amazing.
What's the end of part 2? But the whole thing is fantastic.
The whole thing is great. He was he evolved into being himself and very, very honest and great. It's great.
So you got to hand it to Rick for figuring out that George Carlin would be a good Mr. Conductor. That's a huge leap of space. I mean,
yeah.
I remember when Rick was wondering who they should do, and I suggested Jerry Garcia. And for some reason, Rick didn't go for that. But I thought driving that train, it was a natural. But
definitely,
George is just great. I mean, amazing.
How did you think of him?
Well, first of all, how do you replace a Beatle? That's kind of hard to do. And then we got a list. We got a list from our casting agent, and George's name was on it. Britt didn't know who he was, but I'd been to his concerts, and in fact, weirdly, in the George Carlin documentary right now on HBO, there's a shot of me and my wife Barbara at one of his concerts.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Like, long before we met him. Yeah,
oh, that's amazing.
It was the weirdest thing. We're watching, and it's like, oh my God, there we are. So I knew who he was, and I knew he was a great storyteller, and he took it the second we offered it to him.
Really?
There was no debate about it. He was like, "You mean I get to play the little guy and go on and tell those train stories?" And we said, "Yeah."
Gosh.
And he said, "I'm in."
That
was it.
Because I know with Ringo, when Britt first pitched the Thomas stories to him, he took a little while to decide, apparently, but George was right in.
George was in right away. Wow. I have to tell you all the talent on here, there's a lot easier doing George's deal than it was doing your deals.
Well, listen,
I'm looking
Rick,
at you, Brian, as I say that, and Craig and Olga and Jonathan. Yeah.
Well, JJ's a son of a bitch. I know that. So
yeah, he drove a hard bargain.
Listen, I love the way you sweeten my deal with a tote bag and an umbrella.
Coffee mug.
The mug was, that is my Brian. Hi, sweetheart.
I do, honey.
Thank you for writing that beautiful letter to me from you and your mommy. I mean, Schemer, thank you. And thank you, Rick. Yeah, I had this weird thing happen to me. All of a sudden, I'm seeing double and whatnot. But it's great. I'm fine. I'm just a little, recovering. That's all.
Yeah.
We're so grateful that you're feeling better and kind of on that road, because that must have been really scary. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. But hey, you're my other family. I have to see. Family makes me feel better.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Well, seeing you, Didi, makes us all feel better.
So here we are again with Brian. Brian's here.
Brian's here. He is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where's your curl? I don't see your
Right here.
curl.
Right
There.
there. I got
And
this too.
if
It's it. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
just
The keys.
remind everyone what he looked like.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh,
You know,
that's great.
Rick sent me a Polaroid that was taken of Brian and I when we switched roles. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, no way. Oh,
It made me
Oh,
laugh. I'll go
oh.
get it. I'll go
oh
get
yeah,
it.
that'd be great. Because I'd love to, incorporate more pictures. I was saying, Brian, I think you probably caught in the last one that I loved your scenes with Didi. They were
Oh
just
yeah, so much fun.
my favorite. You guys just seemed like you were having a blast.
Yeah, we were, and the scripts are really well written, and also within the scripts we were able to improvise a tiny bit, which made it a lot of fun. And she's great to work with. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
You see it okay? You got
Yeah.
the whole picture.
Yeah, more or
Oh,
less.
amazing.
Yeah, that's
More or
amazing.
less.
Your line was gone with the wind. You remember saying that?
That was so funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. And
Yeah, it was fun.
Brian, you must have had to have a custom like Stacy suit made for that, right?
Oh,
I get
I,
it.
I would hope so.
Because you wouldn't be able to fit in hers, that's for sure.
I think so, yeah.
Now, Danielle, do you remember that episode?
I sort of, yeah, I do. I remember the
It
episode.
was, Becky Makes a Wish, yeah.
oh, so great
yeah,
to
of
see you,
course, of
Danielle.
course.
Wow.
So
Let
good
me
to
see
see
that.
you.
Oh, look at that beautiful face. Oh my goodness.
It
And
was
Didi,
funny.
Danielle was telling us she has a mother of 3 now.
What?
I
Oh
know.
my goodness.
So my big one's going to high school in the fall.
Wow.
Wow.
I know, it's pretty crazy. And it's funny because I sort of still feel like I'm going to high school in the fall. So it's very odd. It's a crazy experience. But
Oh my
Brian,
goodness.
you were starting to say that there was room for improvising. So, before when I was kind of thinking about, joining all of this, I was, of course, I was starting to think about memories. And one of my favorites is, so Brian Schemer had a radio show. I don't know if everyone
I
remembers.
love that one, yeah.
The moment that stood out to me because he went off script. And, I was a kid, I knew what to, the script, was what we expected, but he just went off and started saying, Skippy Record, who's Skippy Record? And I broke down, and I actually went back and watched the episode. I think that take actually made it into the show. And it's me just gasping for air. I could not breathe. I don't think I delivered my lines. It was just so really genuinely funny to me.
Yeah, you and Erica and Ari were in the background just dying with laughter. And I remember watching that because I thought it was so funny. And yeah, Brian, you were just
Very
in
real.
fine form there. Do you remember that episode, Brian?
The one I thought you were speaking about at first was the one where me and Skeemy are rappers.
Oh, that
Oh,
was hilarious.
That was great. That was a different one.
I
Though.
don't actually remember the radio one. What happens?
Schemer gets his own radio show, and he ends up not really planning it that well. Ends up being surprise, ends up being total kind of chaos. And he ends up losing the gig at the end, and he's all sad. But it was a lot of you scrambling and ad-libbing, and it was great.
The one I remember was, I think everyone was ad-libbing on, was I don't know what season it was when the movie director came to the script to Shining Time Station.
Yes.
And we all were trying to get a part on the movie. And there was this one shot that was far back, and everybody was just running around Shining Time Station, doing their own thing and trying to impress that director. And I remember looking at it after looking at they showed it back. It was just so much fun chaos going on. It was really insane. That's what I loved about the show. Those moments are just what's happening? It's chaotic, but within the realm of it's great.
Yeah. So Rick, you would allow for, oh, sorry, this is my cat, Heather. She's saying hello. Rick, you would allow for some of that improv.
Oh, yes.
Set?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was always good. I mean, it just, they were such talented actors that you could step back and just let it happen. And the chemistry between Didi and Brian was terrific. And then you had Billy Two Feathers, who was kind of this grounding force. He would sort of come in and try to make sense of everything. And before him, it was Harry. But there was just
Harry.
a wonderful chemistry.
Yeah.
My experience is that when you have really good actors who know what they're doing and understand their roles, it's always better to just let them run with it, you know, and to just let them have fun. I mean, I always said, if you can't have fun on a kid's show, you're really in the wrong business. And I think it was a fun set.
Well, I remember you saying, Rick, that it was the same with the puppets. Like it's a fair bit of freedom, and I'd love to turn our attention to them for a little bit too.
Well, it would be nice to hear from him, because he's been kind of quiet, you know. And one of my early memories was Craig and Olga. I don't know if you remember this, but Jonathan would sometimes lay down on the bridge, the marionette bridge, and you would sit on him. Your marionettes. You would sit on Jonathan, and he'd be like laying out there, and he'd be doing his thing, and Peter and Seamock would sit on him. I couldn't get over it. It's kind of like anything for your art. You know?
And you were okay with this? You were okay with this, Jonathan? That was fine.
Yeah. You know, I turned 18 in 1968, so everything was fine with me. I was perfect.
You're hilarious.
Jonathan, Peter and Alan, I've just been missing them so much lately. Peter and
All
Alan.
the time. We think of them all the time.
Yeah. It was a good group.
Yeah.
It seemed like you guys had a lot of fun. How did you get involved in the show, Jonathan?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're the only Jonathan.
Because of Craig and Olga.
Oh.
I mean, I worked with Olga in like 1972, 3, 4 maybe, at the Bill Baird Marionette Theater in Manhattan. So I knew Olga. And so then I knew Craig, and I don't know, Craig was always calling me I worked at the New York Marionette Theater for a little while too, a couple of summers. I don't know. I'd done puppets my whole life. And at a certain point, I don't know, Craig just started asking me to come do a lot of stuff with them. And it was always ridiculously fun. So who would say no? Who would say no when someone comes up to you and says, we need a plate of meatballs and spaghetti right now, puppet size?
Did you go with
because we made our own props and stuff too, and we did it like that. We needed like a Mexican hat. We go make a Mexican hat. You need meatballs and spaghetti puppet size. We go make it. You know.
I love it. That spontaneity, I think, really gave a creative quality to when you were watching it.
One of the things that worked really well with Jonathan and Olga and I was we had the 3 ranges of voices. I mean, Jonathan had this, and I'm kind of in the middle, and Olga's up there like that. So between the 3 of us, we could balance off, and you'd never run into who else was talking. So that gave us a really good amount of spring to bounce off of one another with.
Yeah.
Plus the puppetry itself was, once you get the puppet up on camera and you're looking in the monitor like that, it just takes on a super life by itself. So we're just watching them do these funny things.
Yeah. Did you guys ever, was it physically taxing acting inside the little puppet theater and all the positions you had to get yourselves into? Or did you just kind of get used to it? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'd say no.
Do it.
I didn't think of it at the time.
No, it's more taxing when I'm not doing it.
Oh.
We were young. We didn't notice.
Right. You're just doing the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I certainly noticed, because Craig once said, here, we need an extra to do like a lion character or something. So stand here, put your hand up inside this puppet and stand there and just do this. My arms ached for 2 days after that.
Sorry, which was the guest puppet that you operated, Rick? Do you remember?
All I remember is the pain.
He was working. We did the whole scene when the band was singing No Business Like Show Business.
Oh,
and we
great
had
number.
we had the whole audience of puppets. So besides the group that we built for the show, we kept opening up our arsenal. If we needed a dancing banjo, we happen to have a dancing banjo. So all these type of things we would bring with us. And we knew we were going to do this audience scene. So we brought a kid and a penguin and a thing, and we wanted to fill it up. So you and Rick, come here. So we did the line, hold them up. Now, wherever you point your fingers, that's where they're looking. Now stay like that. Then we'd go have lunch. And it was just great. So when you see all those puppets sitting in the audience and sitting in the crowd, besides the ones that we're doing, Rick and the front office staff, was wonderful.
Well, I remember looking at it in the edit, thinking, I am a really lousy puppeteer. Not only did my arms hurt, but I really am a lousy puppeteer. I think it's also worth mentioning that Jonathan was the only one of the puppeteers who actually sang his own songs on the show, which brought tremendous energy to it.
Yes.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't remember. I only remember having a lot of fun, basically.
Well, that's,
and it was chaos, but it was like divine chaos, you know. And,
now
the whole concept of somebody putting a nickel into that thing and behind you, and then seeing the nickel coming down in puppet size, puppet scale, and puppet time was so trippy that I thought, how will they ever be able to get this by an audience? Because it's obviously somebody who's taken too much orange sunshine has made this up. But how will they ever get it on a kid show, you know? But it just all kind of worked because it was so ridiculous, I guess.
Well, that was
we believed in it, you know. If you
believed it.
Right.
Yeah.
If we believed in it, you'll believe in it. It's
Right.
rubbing of the lamp. If you're making believe, then it's no good. But if you believe in the make believe, so does everybody else.
Who
And
has
we
all
all
those
believe
nickels?
Good question. Well,
Where
then there
are
was
all those
Schemer's.
nickels?
There was Schemer's whole weird relationship to the jukebox.
Right,
Yes.
right.
How he loved the jukebox and loved his nickels, and
Right.
the puppets really didn't like Schemer. They sort of.
Remember that.
Well, and your relationship, Brian, with the jukebox wasn't always good. Like you thought it was like they were trying to keep, Tita was keeping all the coins, so you weren't getting paid for any of the songs, right?
That, and also I thought the whole place was haunted anyway. And then there was something going on with that machine. I didn't know what. It made me, I loved it because it played music and it was a moneymaker possibly for me, but I knew I was getting ripped off somewhere. Something was going on and I couldn't quite figure it out.
Yeah, because Tito was hoarding all the nickels in his
Yeah.
vault. Do you guys
Right.
still have any of the nickel props? I was curious, like the little.
I do. I have one of they're this big.
Okay, I would.
Oh,
if you
wow.
would grab
Put
one,
that
I'd
next
love.
to these
I'd love to
guys, it
see
seemed-
it.
Oh, we'll dig it out next when we do part 3.
Oh, okay.
Brian,
Could that
I
be?
remember when you got pissed off and you wanted to revamp the whole place and threw out the jukebox and brought in a new one. Remember that? And you were dressed with a hairy chest, and we did What's
Right.
New Pussycat.
That was in the family special, right?
That's
Yes,
right.
it is.
I loved that one. I loved
Is
it.
that the
No,
one
it-
Didi and I danced like Saturday Night Fever?
That was
Yeah.
a different one.
Oh, that was a different one.
That was Dance
But-
Crazy.
No, that was when we fell in love on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
We
that-
had
Oh
that-
yeah.
That's
had
even
that
that's a
poster.
different one, I think, isn't it?
Well, I remember that we fell in love and then we
Oh.
were dancing. Yeah, yeah.
One episode that I get asked about sometimes is the one where Schemer had his special club, and he a guy came on who was he was a bigot, and Schemer was trying to suck up to him, and Stacy eventually confronted him, and so did Billy, because the guy kept calling Billy Chief and all sorts of things, and the kids stood up to him too. Do you remember that one, Brian?
Oh yeah, it was great. I get to do my Mr. Howell from Gilligan's Island, right?
Yes.
Speaking like this. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
English accent. And that was great. And the reason I finally came around to realizing this guy was a jerk. You remember why?
Yeah, because he wanted you to cut off your curl.
Yeah, that was going too far. The rest of the stuff I can live with, but cutting off the curl, no.
The racist stuff, fine, but the curl.
I can live with the bigotry and what have you, but not the curl. No.
Oh
yeah,
my
I love that
gosh.
episode. That was really fun. That was really fun.
Brian, I loved your physicality and your slapstick that you did, and you did that kind of since day one. I was wondering, watching, you did so many falls, and Danielle, you probably remember watching him like falling over railings and downstairs. And like, Brian, did you ever have any accidents doing that? Or
well, the theme it was that floor that I was falling on basically was a cement floor with a little bit of linoleum over it. So the whole time I was doing all that stuff, I was falling on cement. One time. My shoulder started hurting for some reason, and this is when we were in Canada. And Didi, you gave me some masseuse guy to help me out.
Right.
And he worked for the Russian ballet or something. He was remarkable. I felt like he was literally taking my muscles and going like this with them, and then it was fine.
That guy had hands. His hands were like tennis rackets. They were so big. Yeah.
Oh.
Brian, you hurt yourself once jumping off the stairs. You landed on a funny way on your ankle.
Oh, I don't
know if you remember. You were wearing a giant strawberry costume.
Oh, I love that episode. You and Schemy giant strawberry outfits and the pies and the faces. Do you remember that?
Oh man.
I remember the one where I was running towards the jukebox and I tripped over the stairs and I ran right into the jukebox, and it was a really good fall, but you thought it actually looked too real, so you wouldn't take it because it looked like I really got smacked. That was fun.
I don't know if you were improvising it or not, but you were showing off to Stacy, and you headed over to the jukebox, and you tripped, and you turned back and said, "Loving you, loving me." I thought that was so funny.
I don't know. I don't remember. That's a good line, though.
It is a good line.
Well, a lot of the writers were writers from National Lampoon.
Yes, that's right.
We had really good writers, and they
Sean Kelly. That's how
we got met Rick.
Right. Sean Kelly was talking with Rick and Britt about writing it, and then he called us up and said that they're doing this new wonderful children's show, and they need puppets and they need yours, but they don't know it yet. Get on down here.
Oh wow!
Wow.
That's
Nice.
Incredible. Danielle, I'm curious, do you have any particular on-set memories? I know we were going to talk about your audition before too. I'd love, Rick, if you can recall that. That would be neat as well.
Yeah, Rick's going to have to fill us in on that because I don't remember.
Well, I was just going to say, I'll help set the tone by recalling your audition. You and your mom came into our offices, right? And you didn't do the script. You had a song and dance routine that involved like guns. Like shooting guns, and you were like playing this little cowgirl, and very sassy cowgirl, and you were sashaying around the office, like shooting guns and singing and dancing and everything.
There's a reason we don't remember things that we did as children. Exactly.
You have no memory of this?
And I looked at Britt and I said, I don't know, I'm not sure about this. And then Britt said, no, let's bring her back in. Let's have her do the script this time. And you did the script. You did a terrific read. And obviously, that's how you got the job. But you had like a trained thing that you did, I think, for auditions.
How can I have a trained thing with guns that I don't remember? This is what I mean. I really don't recall, and I think that's just my ego protecting me from whatever embarrassing things I did when I was 8 or.
I think you were like singing "Achy Breaky Heart." Remember that song?
Oh my gosh!
Danielle,
would you like to do a rendition for us now?
Well, I just remember Danielle being so present, always right there, no matter what was happening, going with the flow, bringing energy to the scenes. It was really, really great. I love you, Danielle.
That's so sweet, Didi. It's funny that you remember that. I remember when I injured you. So we did a baseball special, right? So that like one of the specials was around baseball, and anybody who knew me when I was a kid, and to this day, I'm the opposite of an athlete. Like it's just not at all in me. So the baseball episode caused me a lot of anxiety. And at one point, it was my turn at bat, and I made contact with the ball, which I think to everyone's relief, I think we had probably done a lot of takes with no contact, and I chucked the bat behind me to run, and just it just, the only contact that it really made was with Didi's leg. And I mean, this is what I remember. I don't remember my audition, but I remember feeling terrible.
No.
Yeah, that's my memory. You remember me being present. I remember like assailing you with
the bat. Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Really
Shining time could be violent at
I'm
times.
so sorry.
Hey, speaking of that episode, I believe this is my shirt.
Oh,
my
God.
Oh, that's
my
wonderful, Brian.
Brian, I love that you've kept so many props. I think you have the
Yeah,
most out of anyone.
I'm a very lonely man.
And of course, if you ever come to Toronto, you're welcome to visit your beloved jukebox.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
If you're ever up here.
Yeah, it looks great from here.
I'm so happy to see you all. It's just so great. I mean, it just makes me laugh. Honestly, when I'm looking at you, I'm remembering how I never played a straight man before, and how Brian would set me up to have to, the episode of, which is my son's favorite, when Stacy says no. When I had to learn to say no. I mean, I'm still trying to do that in real life too.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But to play that with Brian, it was so much fun, because I would try so hard to say no, and he would be so bad, doing all kinds of things.
Their relationship was great. And also, to a certain extent, I think sometimes I looked at you as my mommy as well. There seemed to be maybe a love interest there, but also, there's some mommy issues going on as well. So
sometimes I know.
It was such a high level of comedy that we were able to do for the children. It was never looking down at them or just banging into stuff, unless it really furthered the show. Because where did they ever get to see slapstick like you? We raised our son with Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello and the Marx Brothers, but then anything modern like that that never existed. And along comes Schemer, and he's hilarious, tripping over stuff and making it part of the show.
Yeah.
And the whole tone was beautiful.
Yeah.
Rick, you and Britt made sure of that. The whole tone was beautiful.
Yeah.
We would shoot the puppet stuff first, then they would do the live action stuff, and then Mr. Conductor would come in and do that stuff. So we had this kind of simpatico relationship that we knew it was going to work out, but didn't know what every part was. In fact, to this day, when someone says, "Remember the episode where I said, what song did we sing?" As soon as I know what song we sang, then I know where we're at.
Now, just on that topic, Craig, did you record the voices first and then do the puppetry, or at the same time, or how did you?
Songs were pre-recorded.
The songs were pre-recorded, but what about the banter?
Dialogue was live.
It was live. Interesting. Okay.
So the process, we would have read the script already, and I made storyboards and things like that. Then we'd get together with the director, we'd read the scene, then we'd go back there, rehearse it 2 or 3 times, and shoot. Because the puppets were always better by the 1, 2, 3. If we did any more than that, it started taking too much time, started getting too labored. But here we had like the energy go like that, even if it was just a small fraction. And we shot a lot of the songs film style, single camera film style, which made Rick's life harder in post. But it was worth
it.
Us the opportunity.
That same liveness had affected Jonathan and I were doing the costumes and the props and things, just at the spur of the moment and finding things.
We're making a nickel. It's got to look like it's a Fellini nickel. Her name is Lena Fellini. Go. And they'd go in the back and they'd have the nickel and they'd make the legs. And I'd be over there drawing and Alan would be twisting wire and stuff like that. And next thing you know, okay, we're doing that in 2 scenes. It would be finished and it would be on camera.
We did have a prop person that did a lot of the props, like the children.
Oh, yeah. Lisette was our prop person. She was just really wonderful.
Just lovely.
Great.
And whenever we'd get the scripts, Rick would let me puppetize it. So, if it was like someone would write, "Hey, Didi," I'd go, "Hey, how's it hanging, baby?" I would write it like that and stuff. So Rick was fine with that and stuff. And one time the Boy Brothers said something silly and I wrote, "The Boy Brothers share a chortle." So she came up to me very serious. "What is this chortle? Where do I get this chortle from?" And I said, "A chortle, it's like, like a smev." And she goes, I do not know. And then I said, "It's a laugh." Oh.
Hey guys, not to put a downer in this wonderful conversation, but I did just hear today from Britt Harley Morton died. Remember
Yes.
Harley?
Oh,
Harley was
yeah.
a set designer
Yeah.
and basically kept everything going and running and
Oh,
was that work
beautiful.
for Harley. Wonderful man. He just passed away the other day. So
Sorry to hear that.
sort of in memoriam to
Jewel
Harley.
Holmeyer told me that we lost our beloved Harley. Jewel Holmeyer was on SCTV, and he was famous. He did all those beautiful costumes, and he did our Queen for a Day show. Is that right? With
Yes.
well, just amazing talent. And at that time, he hadn't done SCTV in a long time. And when I heard he was on the set, he always did a thing on SCTV called the Jewel Holmeyer Dancers. And they were always like crazy kind of dance. So I went up to the Jewel, and he said, yes. I said, how are the dancers? And he went, you remembered. And he gave me a big hug. And so he told me that Harley passed away. Harley truly was, I believe, in our whole career, the most creative set person we ever worked with. So if you look at the Rat's Nest or some of the things, Tito's Vault, we just really blended our abilities very well, and I'll miss him forever.
Harley did all the any times we needed a prop, the puppets used him a lot. He created beds, and in fact, a funny story, the Boy brothers had this little bunk bed. I don't know, Craig, if you remember that bunk bed, right? And Harley had made the thing, and I was carrying it around for some reason, and very famous actress was at the studio. God, I'm trying to remember her name. It wasn't Ellen Burstyn, but it was someone like that. And she saw me carrying this little bed, and she said, "What are you shooting over there, anyways?" So he was terrific, and
that was a tricky bed too, because the Boy brothers were marionettes. There was a marionette and a hand puppet. So we have the hand puppet one, which I think was Tex, was lying underneath in the bed, and he could be worked from below. And I was up on the marionette bridge doing the other one, sleeping from above.
Wow.
So that was a tricky piece of magic.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. There's a
Jonathan, I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite number as Tito that you recall?
No.
No.
They were all.
Is it all a blur?
No, it's not a blur. I can remember some of them, but they were all just a lot of fun. It really was divine chaos. I mean, we didn't have that many days where we were like, have to beat ourselves up because we screwed up. I mean, it was, it was always, well, Craig could fix anything. So, it didn't matter how crappy it was, he could figure out a way to fix it. And there was some relief there, knowing that it would all be good and it would all come out at the. I have a question for you. Why do you have the jukebox?
Why?
Yeah, you have it.
Well,
where did you get it?
Long story short, it wound up at the CBC props department, and was used in another kids show at one point, and then it was auctioned off just privately when they dismantled the props department in 2007, 2008, I believe. Yeah. And then a private buyer bought it. He cannibalized it a bit and then sold it to this other guy. And then I was looking online. I was looking up Shining Time stuff just out of curiosity and think, oh, did anything survive? And he made an Instagram post about the jukebox. And then I followed up and pursued him and paid him to restore it, which was a whole big process. And that's how we got here. But it was a long process, and he wanted to use it for another project. So I had to convince him and say, please let me preserve this. It's my childhood. I love it. It's a one of a kind, and how think about its history.
Who remembers how many floors there were in it that we lived in, that the puppets lived in?
Oh yeah, there were. Craig, how many floors did we end up with?
Because you had a little elevator, right, that would take you to do
an elevator
all the way down to his vault.
We had Tito's vault.
There was a dressing room.
I think it went from the jukebox into the dressing rooms, and then below that was the vault. And JJ had a periscope, so he could see what Schemer was doing there at the arcade.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. Speaking of Schemer, I was thinking about just your comedic timing, Brian, and your slapstick and stuff. And I was wondering, did any of the other cast have a difficult time keeping a straight face sometimes? I know, Danielle, you said in that one scene you were just dying and forgetting your lines, but that must have been, I don't know, Didi, did you ever break because of Brian's outrageousness? Or
well, You know, the great thing about the writing was that what's his name? JB Morgan.
Oh, JB King.
JB King.
That he could come at any time. And I was always so afraid that he was going to mess up in some way, that it was more like frantic to get him back on the straight and narrow for me.
Right. Yeah, get everything cleaned up before JB King came and like threatened to shut down the station, basically.
I was always worried about that he was gonna, one of his schemes was not gonna get cleaned up in time, you know.
Brian, do you remember one episode? It was where there's a Mr. Conductor has an evil twin and there's a stain on the floor of your arcade and you get this giant garbage can filled with like soap and you're trying to clean the floor and you're slipping and sliding all over the place. Does anyone remember that?
Nope.
No, it was just totally wild.
Well,
No.
I remember the time he was chased by a giant nickel. Remember
Oh,
that
that I
one,
remember.
Brian?
Yeah. Wasn't he in a armored suit as well?
Yes.
Full suit of armor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Suit of armor,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And then he cried and the armor froze.
Right.
Well, Brian,
The thing-
I will say Brian's ad-libbing often did push us into overtime.
Tell us more, Rick.
Yeah, tell me more.
We'd start out with a simple gag, right? And then it'd get bigger and bigger. And there was one time we had a little kiddie pool on the set and he fell in the, he was supposed to fall in the pool. And water on a set is like, everyone freaks out anyways, right? Because there's cables on the floor and everything.
Yeah.
So he fell in the pool once and he didn't like the take. So I thought, well, okay, we'll try it again. So then he had to dry off, get a new set of clothes, they had to dry off the clothes. We're all standing around waiting. He comes back in and he screws up the next time he falls in. He only sort of partially falls in. So we had to do it a third time. By then we were into double overtime just to get that pool gag done.
That was in the bad luck episode. I remember.
Bad luck, right?
And he ad-libs the line, "I'm all wet."
And it was really wet.
Like imitating life.
There was a fair bit of water in that little pool, I remember, because it went everywhere.
Yeah, it went everywhere, and we had people standing with mops on just off camera to mop it up, because you don't want water on a live set.
No.
Anyways,
In regards to that, though, my memory of the whole shoot and everything is that we did. It seemed like we did a lot of things just one or two takes, right? It was like we seemed to go through things pretty quickly because there was flexibility in how people did things. I just remember like going through things really quickly, and also to give a shout out to the directors.
Yes,
and they did such a great job of making it just feel very organic, and somehow and you know, it's a multi-camera shoot stuff. It was just really felt really easy and comfortable, and people were working hard yet efficiently, except for that pool scene.
Well, there were others, but the pool one is the one that comes to mind. I'm interested, Danielle, as a kid on the set, Danielle, I'm kind of interested. What was your sense of all these adults running around, and we'd make you look at this little doll for Mr. Conductor, and did it make sense to you at the time, and how did you get along with the other kids on the set?
Got along great. I mean, it's so interesting listening to you guys and your perspectives of, you know, overtime, and because we were playing, it was like a big playground. I mean, to the point where I remember we would go to lunch, and then like if we'd come back early, the camera guys would let us play. I mean, we were messing up their cameras and zooming in, and we were just having a good time. Everything kind of felt like a lot of play. Brian and Didi, I don't know why the song got made up, Dudes and Dudettes, but do you remember that? And we would just like sing all the time, and everything was kind of just
song?
like a big...
Huh?
I don't know.
It goes dude and dudettes, dude and duets, dude and duets, dude and duets. Then you go up to the 4, dude and dudettes, back to the 1, dude and dudettes, dude and dudettes. Then the 5, dude and dudettes, 4, dude and dudettes, dude and dudettes.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And
I'm not sure that was part of the show.
No, it wasn't, but it was something we sang all the time, like
right
up until we were right up until the cameras were on. Like that's what we would be doing backstage, and then we would, you know, get snapped to it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I can't believe that's Danielle. I just cannot believe it. I have you in my mind, the little girl, and to see you guys, the puppeteers and the puppets and I mean, that's just such a treat. I wish we could have all been together when we were making it, you know. We could have had the pleasure of seeing you record and to do your thing.
Yeah.
But it's great to see you all.
We interrupt this oddcast to state the obvious.
As soon as we started, our computer camera went all wonky.
Sorry.
Yeah, but we thought you'd like to see the puppets up close anyway. This is Perot. He's from our off-Broadway show about Hans Christian Andersen.
In real life, he's best friends with Tito Swing.
That's what's happening, baby. And look, Didi the drummer, the girl with the helium hair.
Give the drums some.
Oh, look, Grace the bass.
We love her. And that is,
That's Bogart. Enough said.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, what about me?
Yeah, and me, the handsome one.
Next time. Hey, you forgot me!
I'm sorry. I meant to ask Brian a question. Brian, do you remember your little case of curls that you used to carry around? We had different curls.
Yeah, they're right here.
Oh yes. Let's see the famous case.
Yeah. This is the case right here, and this is my box of where the third season. I used to wear a little wig on top as well, so I didn't have to. I was having to spray my head with brown shoe polish, like because my hair was thinning. So I wore that, and then this other thing, you know. Yeah, still got it.
So
I'm waiting for the phone call from PBS. That's what the problem is. Every day, just sit by the phone. When they're gonna call?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
We should do a reunion. Oh my God.
Jonathan, you got anything to say for Tito?
Oh, there you go.
What?
I can't even remember how I did it.
You don't remember?
It was all in the. It's all in the jukebox. Turn the jukebox on and see if you can find anything. If you can find any of his songs. He was great. He was so much fun.
Tito was fun because he was a little sleazy, actually.
Yeah.
He's kind of the sleazy puppet.
Yeah.
You know, there's something just a little shady about Tito.
Yeah.
My real last name isn't Swing, baby.
Yeah, good point. Good point. The stuff that went over my head as a kid. I was gonna ask you, Danielle, when you were, because I know you were going to school on the set. What was that like to be doing that and acting full time? Was that hard?
I liked it. It's interesting. I think it probably leads to my my like strong independence and how I don't totally always understand rules at school because I just did whatever I wanted to do. So what I remember most is that I was very self-paced. So I had a certain amount of work I had to get done by, you know, maybe 2 months at a time. And I was a kid, right? So I would do my favorite things, which was math. And then at the end, it would be all social studies that I had to be catching up on because I would put it off. But it was great. We had our tutor, Lori, and she was so nice and kind. And
so did you do a certain amount of school a day?
We must have.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like that was the grown-ups. The grown-ups took care of how much school we were supposed to do. Right. We were kids. Like we were playing. I mean, I sent you that picture of, you know, me rollerblading down the hallway. I mean, it was a playground. It was so yeah, we had grown-ups to worry about how much, like what school we had to do every day. And I got to, you know, do all my math until I didn't want to do it anymore.
That's amazing.
Your friends love seeing you on TV?
Yeah.
Oh,
what about your kids? How about your kids?
Yeah, we were talking about that before you came on, Didi, that my kids have not that much interest in my life before they existed. So they do a little. I mean, they get like a little bit of a kick out of it, but yeah, no, my friends at the time, still to this day probably could tell you more about the show than I remember. They know
really?
Everything. Yeah.
Well, Danielle, how did you find out about the podcast in the first place? I was curious.
This is so embarrassing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, totally fine. So this kind of stuff happens. My partner has a friend who deals with like autographed, a lot of like sports memorabilia. But anytime new people come into my life and find out I was Becky on Shining Time Station, they get a big kick out of it. And so he said, I need you to sign something, and I need to, I have to sell it. It's just like, it wouldn't be me if I didn't ask you to do this. And so I said, we were at a party, we were at a barbecue. I'm like, fine. And he had me sign Becky Makes a Wish. And because of that, someone reached out, I guess whoever bought it on eBay reached out to him and said, I don't know if you're in touch with Danielle Marcot, but there's this podcast happening that she would be I think she would be interested in knowing about. It's a wild thing.
That's so serendipitous, because I was thrilled when Rick told me.
Friend thinks that he was responsible for all of this, and this. I mean, this is what he wants, is for me to tell this story and give him all the credit of bringing me back in. But I'm happy. It was this is why sometimes I just say, sure, I'll do it, because how cool that I got to reconnect and find all of you.
Well, we're so grateful, because we couldn't find you because your last name had changed, and I know you kind of left the acting world. So
Yeah,
that's great. I wanted to ask you guys, this is a question for everyone, because I've been in Toronto now for 10 years and just love it to pieces. Do you have memories of like filming here, like at the studios, or like going around downtown? Like, what was your guys' experience of living in Toronto and shooting up here? Because like Rick, you said some of the, like even the third season shoot was really long. You were up here almost all seasons of the year.
Yeah, I remember the bagel. I love that place called. I remember restaurants.
I wonder if it's still here, because Toronto's changing so rapidly. Where was it, Didi?
Oh, I don't know.
Because you guys shot over on Pharmacy Ave, but I imagine you went downtown and stuff.
Yeah, it was downtown. Yeah. No, I don't remember.
We had the best time though. The puppeteers. We stayed at the Intercontinental, and
Right.
we were all really good friends, and we had nice suites there and everything like that. And we liked each other so much that we couldn't wait to see each other in the daytime. Then after work, we'd go home and then go out again together, walk around Old Newtown Road, whatever it was, New Old Young Street. That cracked us up, Old Young Street. We liked that. And we would go to the team one time. I said, we were there earlier, me and Seamock and Kenny Mealy, and we said, would it be possible to go to the Sky Dome and see a thing? And they said, sure. So they got us tickets, and we went there, and they kept bringing us closer and closer to the front. And I was going to be so embarrassed, because, you get to the front and they go back there, and you turn around, everyone's pointing to you as you go back. Second row, right by the first base dugout. It was amazing, and it was just such a beautiful thing that you guys did that for us. And Alan Seamock had never been to a baseball game before, and as we're leaving, he said, "If I knew you had such good seats, I'd have gone years ago."
Oh, it's great fun. And Rick,
I have a question. What about the shoe museum? Is that still there?
It is.
Oh, the Bata Shoe Museum.
Was that your favorite place, Jonathan? The shoe museum?
Yeah, well, it was pretty great. I don't know if it was my favorite place. It was pretty great. I've worked in Toronto a few times, and I don't know. It's a really interesting, but it's nice to work out of town sometimes, to be away from, all the other stuff.
We were up there for the longest time. We were shooting the second season, I think, as well as the 5 home videos. So we were making doubles of some of the songs that were going to be used in the home videos, as well as that were going to be used in the show. So sometimes they had different intros and outros. That was one of the most creative blocks of time in my whole life. All of us were running on full gear, full creativity. The staff, Bentley and Artie and everybody who worked behind the scenes, the lighting and the cameramen, they were fantastic. And we all really felt like we were one hand on that. And,
when did we shoot in Harlem? Didn't we shoot the pilot?
The first season.
No, the first season we shot in Harlem.
88, 89.
Yes, that's right. And then Danielle was from New York, but the other 2 actors, child actors, were from Toronto.
Ari and Erica?
Ari and Erica were from Toronto.
Right.
And then we had a lot of guest stars coming up from New York who we'd fly up just
Mitch Smoot.
couple
Mitch
shows.
Smoot.
Mitch Smoot
Mitch Smoot.
and Felix Perez. I always thought Felix would get together with Stacy. I felt like there was a little something there, Didi, but the suave bus driver. No, just me.
No, there was something there.
Right? Yeah, thank you.
No,
Thank you, Brian.
I love you. You are my schemer.
Are you saying that Stacy and Schemer would have ended up together, Didi?
I think we have.
Oh, that's so sweet. So
there was one Canadian actor though who Brian drove absolutely crazy.
Who?
An actor named Gerard Parks. He played Barton Winslow, and there was something, Brian, about you that just so got under that actor's skin that every time he came on the set, he would come off the set and he just looked like a broken man. Just having...
What did he play?
He played Barton Winslow, the guy that ran the store.
The really kind of uptight store owner.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
uptight store owner. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, Brian, but you just got under his skin. I think because you would change lines and he'd get all confused and befuddled. And he was the one actor I think that he really took Schemer very seriously. I think that was what it was.
Wow.
That's always a mistake.
I was gonna say, yeah, because you're so likable, Brian. It's hard to believe, but if Rick, like you're saying, is kind of regimented in particular.
There's some actors that they want that line done exactly the same way, every time the same way, and all that. And if anything gets off, they bent out of shape and stuff. But I don't recall that. But I have worked with actors before that are like that. They want, once something's set, it's set. That's how it's done.
Yeah.
But you had the most improv kind of Brian out of anyone, I assume.
Yeah, he did.
Your character.
You know what I enjoyed doing? I just remembered when I was Gracie Jones, the show about the past and how we got the station.
Yes, his name,
how the station got us into the last episode of this before the family specials. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. My dog, I think, is in that one. Is that the one?
Yes.
My
Romeo,
yeah.
What kind of dog did you have, Didi?
A Westie. So he played Toto when we were all dressing up.
That was in the movie star episode, I think.
Right.
The movie director guy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then also, was he in? Do you remember Ginny, the farmer? Barbara Hamilton. He had a little dog that was a Westie. Was that your dog too?
Yeah, that was my dog too. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, I used to come to Toronto with a Moses basket with my son in it, and he'd be on the floor there, and the dog in the doggy bag, and it was great. It was great.
Hey, Didi, speaking of your dog, I don't know if you remember when the episode we did with the Queen.
Yes. Corgi with the
and
corgi.
She had a corgi. And Romeo and the corgi, like we had to break them up. They were like, Romeo was constantly humping the corgi off camera.
Romeo was not fixed at that point, I know.
Bad Romeo.
It was like, oh God, they're doing it again.
Romeo was in love.
Very romantic.
You're always trying to keep it
PG.
Trying to keep it PG on a kid's show, but it's like, no. That's so funny. So Romeo was the name of your dog.
Yes, I guess it was Juliet. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, that's so funny. Well,
we had a monkey on the show too, right, Rick?
I was just remembering that.
Yeah, we did, and the monkey escaped and crawled up into the lighting grid, and
you're kidding.
All sorts of problems. No, it got away. It got escaped, and it went up in the grid.
Oh,
we had pigs on the show once too, and Danielle got upset because we could hear them squealing off camera, and they make a horrible sound.
Oh yeah.
You probably don't remember that, Danielle.
I don't remember. See, I blocked that out too, but I probably was very upset. It's funny that you brought up the monkey part, because I was thinking when we were talking about Romeo, we used our family, right? And so I remember my little sister was the hand of the monkey for some scene in there.
Yes.
Right? That's I remember. Hilarious.
This is all coming back, but yes, I remember. She was teeny, so she had the littlest hand.
The ironic part about that, Rick, is that the episode was about like a thief in Shining Time Station causing trouble. So the fact that the monkey actually literally got loose on the set.
Yeah.
Sorry, the irony is just too good.
Yeah.
Went up in the lighting grid and started throwing things at people.
Things.
Monkey things?
Yeah.
Monkey things.
Monkey things. How did you get it down? Do you remember?
The Wrangler coaxed it down with the banana or something. Anyways, the monkey was no end of heartache.
At least you guys weren't bored on the set. Like, I get the impression from all of you when you recall memories that it was like a pretty relaxed environment, comfortable, like fun.
Wait for the next day. Couldn't wait to get into work the next day.
Yeah.
I miss it all the time.
Yeah.
That's it.
One of the things that also made it fun was that for me, I think for everybody, is that there was a lot of yes going on. Like people had ideas and somebody go, yeah, let's try that. There wasn't that stickler person who'd go, no. It was like, yeah, let's try that. Let's try that.
Great.
Didi would come up to me sometimes with ideas for my character. Hey, why are you trying to do this? I go, that's a great idea. Let's try that. So the actors were sharing with stuff. And when we got on this, we do read-throughs and stuff. But when we got back actually on the set, that's when we started kind of, everybody's creativity was coming alive. We just have fun with doing stuff and figuring things out. It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it. And, obviously, Rick, you had much to do with that environment being able to take place, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
It was easy. It was easy with you guys. Although, Brian, do you remember the time the Today Show was on set? And and I was very uptight about having them on set. And you kept coming up to me and asking questions like during the shoot. And finally, I just turned around to you and I said, what? What do you want this time?
I remember.
And you just started laughing because you knew I was just like really stressed about having this NBC crew on set.
Yeah,
So,
it's funny that clip actually was just recently found and has been shared. It's funny to know that background. Was it just you were wanting things kind of just so?
Yeah, it was the Today Show. We wanted it. We wanted everything to look good. And there's Brian keeps coming up to me, asking me questions as they're trying to interview me, right? And so,
that's funny.
I did the Today Show with Ringo.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we took that train ride. Huh?
So there's a clip of that. Somebody is posting all the Shining Time episodes chronologically in order.
Yeah, Nick.
No, this is a guy named.
He's helping, but it's Joseph mainly.
Yeah,
I thought it was
guy
Nick,
named Joseph, and that clip, you can find that clip of you and Ringo on the Today Show. It's on his.
There's a really insane clip of me at some kind of PBS call-in, get money thing,
The telethon.
Telethon.
I don't know what I was doing, but I'm just off the wall. It's just like
you have
the poor host.
They're like kids around, and they're like,
what was going on?
You.
And then they let me improvise with these kids. They basically said, "Go ahead, do stuff with these kids." It's like, all right, let's go. And it was pretty fun.
It's fun. Well, I wanted to ask you, Brian. You had those Schemer Presents segments.
Yeah.
Now, whose idea was that? And
I think Rick's.
Was that Rick?
That was my idea. Yeah.
As like little intros to the home video, kind of the home video episodes. And now, was that a lot of that material yours, Brian? Because you said they were like one take.
Did it. Rick, did we do most of those in one take?
Yeah, they were pretty fast.
You look at those things. There's no edits. I mean, it's all one take.
No,
no, those were all written by Lampoon guys. I think most of it was Rick? What was the guy's last name began with an S?
No, it's Ellis Weiner.
Ellis
Wrote
Weiner. Yeah,
Sorry,
Ellis wrote all this. Yeah. Very funny guy.
Right. And Danielle, you were in one of those segments. Do you remember?
Now that you're saying it, what was the segment that I was in? I remember.
I think it was either how to get things done or how to tie your shoes or how to answer the phone.
Let me look.
Whatever it was.
I'll look it up.
I progressively got my IQ progressively got lower and lower as those went along. The kids are teaching me how to do stuff. And Danielle, you were great. I think you did 2 or 3 of them, right?
Yeah. She was in a couple of them. And it was just like a little, I guess, a little like side set to the main station set or something.
Yeah, we did it after the shoot.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They were really fun.
I really just want to say how much too, again, obviously you can probably tell, but I loved the set. It was just it was so real as a kid. Like it felt nostalgic for a time that I hadn't been in. It was really hard to explain. And so obviously when I found this, I was so excited to restore it. But I also want to just mention Wayne White, I think was very instrumental in the look of the show.
Yes.
He did the mural and the whole kind of design in season 1. And I just thought it was beautiful. Now I wanted to ask you, Rick, whose idea was it to set the show in a station? I don't think I asked you that before.
I don't remember.
Do you recall?
You know, what happened was that once Britt and I decided we were going to work together to do the show, we just went off for 2 weeks in an office at WNET and just with whiteboards and index cards and just came up with a whole flurry of ideas.
Okay.
And one of the things that came out of it was to set it in the train station.
Mm-hmm.
And then the schemer character came out of that. Mr. Conductor was kind of early on because we had to find a role for Ringo, and that kind of made sense. But then, and we always knew that there'd be Stacey Jones. And I think on the last podcast, we talked about Didi's audition, which was great fun. That was one of those auditions where Didi, the second you walked out of the room, you had the part. I mean, it was yours, which is always fun when that happens. So yeah, I can't say exactly when that idea occurred, but once it occurred, it just seemed very natural.
Do you have the Thomas the Tank Engine stories? Those were already made, and then you found stories that would go with that, would lead into that certain lesson or something like that?
The first set of Thomas were already made. Then when we made Shining Time, we started talking to the people in England saying, can you do an episode about this?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, so it's sort of, there was kind of a cross pollination between Shining Time and Thomas to try to make the episodes, you know, fit a little better in a half hour.
There were 2 seasons by the time you were filming season 1, and then the 3rd season, I think, is what you're referring to, Rick.
Yes, yeah. And so we started, you know, talking back and forth, and Britt obviously was jumping between both productions, so she was, you know, she was aware of what they were doing over in England. So that we tried to make it a little more seamless. But then we ran out of Thomas episodes at some point we had to start repeating them because there just weren't enough of them, and the demand for Shining Time, you know, just kept growing.
Right. And I wanted to ask, because I know you guys wrapped season 3 in 93 and then came back to do the family specials, I guess probably filmed 94, 95. Were you aware that those were kind of the last, it was like the send off of Shining Time at that point, and that there wouldn't be any more stories made? And if so, was it sort of like a goodbye? I just wanted to hear your recollections on doing the specials a bit.
Well, the specials were fun, but no, I didn't realize we weren't going to keep doing them every year.
Okay.
I still don't realize it.
Oh, bless you, Brian.
I'm still ready. I'm waiting for that phone call.
Oh my gosh. Well, if I had the financial capacity, I would make that happen for you guys. But
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Listen, everybody, I gotta go. I love you.
I gotta say, wait, don't go yet.
Okay.
I did get. Yeah, I just want to say how great you were to work with. I mean, you were just so giving and supportive and awesome, and it was just such a pleasure being with you and working with you. It just was a gift to me because you was just so great, both as a person and as an actress.
Right back at you. I mean, you never cease to surprise me with your bits and your funniness and your imagination and your curl, and then when you came up with Little Scheming.
Oh God,
that was such a. I love you, Brian. I love you all so.
We love you too, Didi. Thank you for joining.
My pleasure. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Didi.
Hey guys, I am like freaking bereft that I missed the reunion chat get together. It would have been so lovely to see your faces. My goodness, let's see. Shining Time Station. It was my first major like leading role. I was 9. And so it was super significant and formative for me. I remember that Didi, you always used to make things so welcoming for us kids on set. I loved your little white terrier. I loved you put candy in the drawer in the middle of the set, and that was always so lovely. It was quite the treat to look forward to. And yeah, hi to the fans. My goodness, it's been quite some time. I'm a mom now, for crying out loud. A new mom. My wife's inside, taking care of the baby, taking a moment outside. My dog's trying to be the star of this show. In any case, so good to see you guys. It was great to catch that first interview and see all of your faces. And yeah, I hope I have the opportunity at some point in the future. Bye.
Yeah, so does anyone have any particular recollections or things that are coming to them now as we're talking that you'd like to share or reflect on?
I have a picture here I want to share. Oh, you know what I have? I have an autographed picture of Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers.
Wait, how did you wind up with that?
I used to work with him once in a while. We did personal appearances and stuff. Anyway, here's a nice shot of all of us.
Oh, that's a gorgeous one.
See that one?
Oh, it's beautiful.
That's nice, huh? Yeah. And then there's this one. Oh.
Oh, look.
Oh, Danielle, look at your face. Oh, my God.
Uh-huh. Oh, I get a million of them.
Do you? Oh,
hold on now. Who's that guy?
Oh, so handsome.
Wow.
Oh my God, Danielle, your face.
Oh my goodness, this is
That's amazing. I always think of you as looking like this.
There's Harry.
Funny. You look like yourself.
Oh, there's Harry. Yeah, Leonard. Oh,
Yeah, the original. Yeah,
Rick,
season
this
1.
is from a this thing. You remember this?
Oh yeah, that's the press kit.
the
Press kit.
Oh,
Press
beautiful.
kit. Right. Here's a schemer Nicolle.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
How about that one?
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, Craig.
Oh,
Is that you? Who's on the background next
Who's
to
that?
Jake?
is that me
Is that
kissing?
you? Is that you, Rick?
You, Rick? Yeah.
I think that's me,
You and
Yeah.
Craig kissing.
JJ
Right.
Silvers.
And that's my daughter in the shot.
Oh wow.
Oh, beautiful. I know kids reacted so well to Schemer. Oh, that's a gorgeous one.
Yeah, I've got that one.
Oh, that's
You got this one?
beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Brian, if you could scan these, that would be amazing, if possible.
Now here's a picture of me, schemer, right?
Is that like at a mall
The
appearance? Or
important thing
something?
is I still have those clothes.
Oh my gosh.
I am
No
waiting
way.
for a friggin' phone call. Speaking of which, I still have the phone I used to talk to my mommy on. Okay, mommy. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm trying to get to the show again. Okay, bye.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, here's one. This is the hair piece.
Oh,
We used to go, how'd it go? Here? Yeah, remember? The curl here and this on this side.
oh my gosh.
I had to do, this is for the 3rd season. My hair was just getting it was taking so much time to actually do the curl. In the beginning, I used to like take a toilet paper, the inside of a toilet paper thing,
Yeah.
and wrap my hair around it and spray. After a while, it was just like, just use this other stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Do any of you guys have any other things you've kept from the show, or?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, obviously, Craig and Olga, you guys have our lovely puppet
We
family.
have all the puppets and many of the props, which is amazing, and
That's
we have
great.
a box of the toys when they made the Shining Time bendies. I can send you pictures of a lot of these.
Here's a bendy, Craig. Here's
great.
your bendy.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's your
That's
schemer.
so
Yeah.
nice.
Brilliant.
Right. We have ours in the box, you know.
Do you have a Tito, Jonathan? Do you have a Tito puppy?
No, I don't have.
A little
I think I
Bendo?
did once, but I gave it to some kid. I don't have anything. I don't. That's why I was wondering who had all those nickels that I supposedly was collecting.
Oh
in the
my
basement.
gosh. Well, you can find them on
What was
eBay
the
now.
piggy bank's name?
Right?
The
What?
bank slots, wasn't it? called
Slots.
Oh, the
Slots?
cow?
It was a big
Lots.
The giant pig.
giant pig.
Slots.
They were
Something
Roy.
big.
Pig.
That's how Roy. Yeah, and he was
He'd say
Alan
right,
Seymour.
right. Right.
Yeah,
right?
Roy, very good. That was
Who was
the late
Vlad?
Alan Seymour. Yeah.
Oh my
Who
gosh.
was Vlad?
Vlad?
Vlad, VLAD.
Alan.
Oh,
Oh, that was just his nickname?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
We
was
used to call him Vlad. We called him Vlad the Imp.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
Slots was the name of the and Harley made the slots. I drew them and Harley made the rat's nest. And that was amazing because we Dutched the camera. So when we did What's
and
New
the great
Pussycat.
Great big mouse trap.
Right. Yeah, Harley was just great. We really teamed up with him and we have that mousetrap.
We do.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad you guys are keeping stuff. Danielle, you had something you were bringing too. You wanted to
Yeah,
share.
I forgot it. I needed to go grab it. So I found my Shining Time Station jacket.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Have
Okay. I lost
No
mine.
way.
Wow.
We
that's
wear
nice.
ours in winter and kids who are now like you, Adrian, come up to us. I love that show. Did you work on it?
I love that you kept that jacket. That is beautiful.
I know. I don't really have, I didn't have props or anything, but I do. I have my jacket.
Oh,
I'm gonna show you what I got here. Look at this.
Harley to send you.
oh,
Oh,
that's that was from the rap party. I think season 1 rap party,
Yeah.
and they did like a
Rico
Ringo
signed it,
face
right?
on Thomas.
Yeah. And this one, Rick, I don't think you're gonna have anybody ever seen this one before?
Oh, that's the pop-up book. Yeah.
Pop up.
No.
oh, cool.
And this is
The jukebox. Yeah.
That's
with the
terrific.
batteries
I-
in here. You press the different characters, and Schema used to go, "It's genius time,
Genius time.
genius time." Wasn't that cool?
That
That's
is
very
so
cool.
cool.
That was
So
great.
cool.
Yeah.
I have something to add. I've got a little picture frame here, and this is me and my grandma. She was the one who recorded all the Shining Time episodes for me. There.
Thanks,
Oh,
Grandma.
nice.
That was when I was a
Thank you,
little. That was me as a little kid.
Oh,
Oh, cool.
Wonderful. I just want to circle back to Jonathan for a minute. Jonathan, you went
Yeah.
on from Shining Time to be Jafar, correct?
Hmm.
Well, I was actually doing it while we were doing Shining Time because I remember we were in Toronto once, and I think I had to go to I don't know, Disney World or Disneyland or something for a one of the openings or something. So what were the dates?
So what Aladdin was came out in 94, right?
92.
So, or was it 92? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys would have been doing what? Probably season 2 around that time, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I,
you were doing
recall?
season 2, and you had to leave for a week to go do some actual recording. And then you came back and we said, "How was it?" You go, "It's going to be amazing." And you started singing Mr. Aladdin, sir. And we thought, "Oh, I can't wait." Then when it opened,
yeah,
all the
that's what
puppeteers went and saw it in New York. And then we met Jonathan and took him out to Rumpelmeyer's to Serendipity to celebrate that great milestone.
yes, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was all happening kind of at the same time. So that's why a lot of it is a little bit of a wash.
Yeah.
Oh, it always was, John. You know that.
I know. I could barely keep up. I would just be like, what next? Just tell me what to do, where to go, where I have to show up, and I'll be there.
Oh my gosh.
That was one way we worked well together too, because Jonathan kind of stayed along with the script and I'd be bouncing all around him. So that gave our characters that kind of tension as he was trying to keep going to the point, and I was like leaping around him. And that added to some of Tito's sleaziness, would you say? Or just
Maybe.
confusion is the word.
One of my recollections of the set is there were actually very few blow-ups on the set.
Oh,
You know, I mean, we've all been on other sets where people throw tantrums and get angry and so on. There were actually very few on Shining Time. I only remember one time a director stormed out of the director's booth and shook up Ari Magder because Ari, Do you remember that, Brian?
I don't, but I can
what did he do?
sort of understand it.
He shook him up and he said, "We're here to work. This is about work, and you have to focus and you have to get your lines." And I think we were all secretly kind of like, well, glad, because Ari was acting up a lot on set. And Danielle, you were very good with Ari, I think. There were some times that, I know you helped him with his lines, and that sometimes he would call you and you would help him with his role. And I think that, he probably struggled a little bit more than you and Erica did. And I've never forgotten that, actually. It was really tremendous kindness for someone your age to show to appear like that. So these are some of the things you remember.
It's interesting. I have two girls, and that's their role too. They just take that on so easily. They're always, helping someone at school, and this one needs, I came up with this strategy for this person to remember the explorers. It's nice. It's nice to know that they get that kind of like the helper nature, partially.
Sweet.
Well, you were such a good little actress that I remember one time Erica was supposed to do. We had a show that was really focused on Erica, and she got sick at the last minute. She couldn't do it, and so we switched the script around and we made it your script, and you memorized the lines that morning. And you were right on the money.
That's incredible.
She was sort of the anchor to the kids, I feel. And it was just always a joy working with you, Danielle.
Thank you.
And I remember how upset you were when the series wrapped, and you were crying on the set. I don't know if you remember this.
I do. Endings are hard for me.
Oh, was this at the end of the family specials?
No, it was at the end of the third season.
The end of the third season?
And you were crying, and I came out on set and I talked to you. I said, it's okay, we'll all be back together again, and it'll be fine.
I mean, it's so I can sort of like, I have empathy for young me because we spent every day together. It's just, it was a family. It was a pretty intense experience. And so, endings are hard. Goodbyes were hard.
Yes.
It was hard to shift back.
On another note regarding your performance and stuff, you were an excellent actress as a kid. You're like solid and great, always there, and like really present. And you were really remarkably easy to work with because of that. It was like I think both you and Matt are really smart anyway, I think, right? But you were tremendous, seriously. You're a very good actress.
Thank you.
Hopefully you know that about yourself. Huh?
You can see why I didn't want to leave. Like, this is really nice. So thank you.
But it's true. But but the funny thing is, I'm not being nice. It's true. I mean, you were really great. Seriously. Yeah.
I'm curious too. One person I wasn't able to get in touch with was Erica, who is still acting. Do you guys have any particular memories of working with her?
She was a delight. She was great. Sweet kid.
Nice. Any particular funny stories?
I just remember I can't remember which one she did on Schemer Presents though, but she came in and just was almost reprimanding me for being such an idiot. It's really funny. She's like, she was just exasperated with my stupidity. And it's like, Schemer, this is how it's done. And it was like, okay.
And that was how she was. I mean, Erica was, she was like a strong personality. And I remembered, like, I think I felt like a rule follower, like I needed to follow rules. And I sort of would like watch Erica and be sort of envious that she was herself all the time. She was like kind of like outspoken, and she was a blast. She was like, she was a really fun friend at that age.
That's great.
Hey, how come Matt didn't do the second season? Anybody know?
I mean, because we went up to Toronto, and we wanted to change the two kids and make it a threesome. And we'd already cast Danielle out of New York, and we needed to have a certain number of Canadians in the cast. And that's why Matt didn't come up.
There was the age factor too, right? That probably by the
Matt was getting older by then.
He did a few crossover episodes, but they were
Yes.
him and Nicolle were already, quite a bit taller and visibly
Right.
than
Yeah.
than
He was
Danielle.
a good actor too, though. Matt was.
Yes, he was. Well, you know what he's doing now, right? He directed the last Borat movie.
He did?
Yes.
Borat?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
And he's shooting something right now. I'm not sure what, but he's busy.
Wow.
but
Very cool.
you know, it's wonderful actually to see how all the kids have done so well who are on that show.
Mhm.
Because so often, child actors, they don't always turn out well, to be honest. And all the kids from Shining Time have just gone on, to great things.
Nicolle
And
included.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Why did you get out of acting, Danielle?
I mean, I can give you kind of like an adult response now, but I don't know if that's exactly, it's like, it's hard to know why you do certain things when you were 12 or 13, but I was getting, I was becoming a teenager, and I had spent a lot of time going back and forth, being in Toronto, going back home. And I think, and I was a very kind of like school achievement oriented kid. And I think I didn't think I could split my attention anymore between two different things that kind of, and I really was like a very achievement oriented student. So I don't think I didn't really have like the capacity to split my time in that way. And yeah.
That makes sense. And
that's a good adult answer.
It is.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to know. Did I really have that foresight at 13? But maybe I did. I don't know.
You sounded very mature for your age, from what I hear people recalling.
Yeah, maybe I did have that ability to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan, you were on Broadway up until what, January of this year?
January 23rd, yeah.
Yeah, that was your last show as Jafar, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it I did it for 8 years on Broadway, and we were in Toronto actually. Before we opened, we had a preview in Toronto.
If I had known, when was that?
I think we were in Toronto for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months.
Oh, amazing.
The end of 2013, and then 2 years before that we were in Seattle. It was a very long trajectory, the whole project. Yeah. And while I was doing Mary Poppins on Broadway, we were doing readings and presentations and trying new material and stuff for Aladdin. So that was another 2 years. The whole experience was about close to 15 years.
Wow.
From the time that we started work on it. So I just and also I just felt that it was too much heavy lifting to be honest. There's a lot of costume involved. Yeah. And at the end of the show, there was a big costume trick that took place, and it was very difficult. And I don't know. And I really loved working with everybody. I worked with all those people. Mary Poppins was the New Amsterdam Theater, and Aladdin was there for all those years. So I was at least 10 years in the New Amsterdam Theater.
Who did you play in Mary Poppins?
Admiral Boom.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And so the crews were fantastic, and I loved everybody there. It's like takes about 150 people every night to put on a show like that. You include the orchestra and the front of house and everything. And so there was no good reason. I mean, no bad reason. Nothing happened. I didn't, freak out or get fired for doing something horrible. I was in love with everybody, and I thought it's better to leave while you're still in love. And it was just time. Nothing bad.
Yeah.
I needed a break. I'm still having a break. In fact, I'm sort of I'm doing little stuff right now, but I'm really resting. It's exhausting, and then COVID shut us down for a while, and then we went back to work. So going back to work, we were, rehearsing in masks, and the protocols were pretty tough. Disney was testing us every day, sometimes twice a day, and we had to mask to the moment we walked on stage. So it was all getting to be too much. I thought, Grandpa Freeman, go home.
No, that's great. I know we might be moving towards wrapping up. If anyone wants to share any kind of like last minute recollections from the show that they've just
So I'm in Lisbon recently, and I swear this is true. Before the announcement in Portuguese about what train's coming up, it goes like that from the theme from Shining Time Station. Swear, and then the announcement's made.
So they were making it was the Shining Time theme they played.
At least it sounded that way to me. The very beginning of Shining Time Station, and then the song starts. It was and then they tell you which trains are coming and what slot, And I don't know why that was going on, but it was freaking me out.
That's wild.
That makes sense to me.
What?
The music for the station at the train station. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's pretty. It does make sense.
Yeah.
When you go online,
I didn't know what was going on in my mind.
It's magic. It's magic, Brian. That's what it is.
Magic, yeah.
Brian, as I said, there's just something special about this place.
Perfect,
Rick. Perfect.
Well done, Rick.
And if I may add, the thing that made it special is Rick.
Sweet of you to say, Brian. Thank you.
And you also, in with the writers and the directors, you're wearing so many different hats, and yet the atmosphere in that place was like cool and family and fun and easy. And yet you had you had 5 million things coming at you at once, and you had been able to handle it all and keep us, calm and collected. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the last story I just want to remind you of, Brian, was remember when you thought Richard Nixon was coming on the show?
Yeah.
For weeks, Brian thought Richard Nixon was the real Richard Nixon was coming on the show. He didn't realize it was a Nixon imitator, and the whole office was in on it. The whole studio was in on it. Everybody kept saying, well, because Brian would come up to the office and he'd say, all right, tell me, who is it? Who's this special guest? And they were all instructed to say, well, we can't tell you. It's special, but it involves a Secret Service. And Brian was so convinced that it was the real Richard Nixon. Yeah. And then the fake guy shows up. And I remember you came into my office and you stood at the door and you said, very funny, very funny.
Well, what was going on though, leaving out this part, Rick, I was wondering whether I wanted to do the show or not.
Oh, yeah.
You were going to have the real Nixon on there, and I'm going like, I don't want to do a show with that guy, man. And everyone's saying it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, if this really is Nixon, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I was really torn. And then I realized the whole thing was a scam on me. And everybody was in on it. From everybody.
Everybody. The whole studio.
Pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Oh, that's nice. So you guys did have some pranks on set.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Any other pranks, like any jukebox pranks that you guys would do on each other? It's got to be some.
There was something every day.
Don't remember.
Did you guys ever get up to mischief like the kids? Do you ever go where you weren't supposed to, or
No, I was perfect. No. I really, there weren't that many limits set on us. Like I was saying, I just felt like everyone, like they knew we were kids. We were allowed to be kids, I guess, except for Ari. I do remember him getting in trouble. But no, I mean, I'm sure we did things that drove, continuity crazy. I mean, we were kids. We just didn't get the seriousness sometimes. But I don't remember any major hijinks we were getting into.
Right.
We left that to Brian.
So sweet of you to do this. When I was a kid, when somebody put something like this together with Chuck McCann or Sandy Becker or something, those are the names that mattered so much to me. And nostalgically, now to be part of that kind of nostalgia thing is really a powerful thing. In fact, our friend is doing a high school reunion, and he's a Howdy Doody nut, and he has Howdy Doody puppets, and we've done Howdy Doody puppets on the Sally Jesse Raphael show. So he put together a Howdy Doody reunion for his high school reunion. So we're going to help him out and go work the Howdy Doody puppets for him. So I'm Mr. Bluster, and she's Dilly Dally. So that's fun. Now you don't know who Howdy Doody is, right? No. Okay.
Yeah. No. And you said you worked with Sandy Becker?
Kind of a different generation Shining Time. You mention it and people's hearts go, oh, Howdy Doody.
I just turned 35.
Oh,
So that's
a mere child. I know. I know. But Jonathan, this is our fan base now, right? These are the kids that grew up with the show.
Yeah,
It's
Well,
wild, isn't it?
I discovered something interesting. Not that many years ago, I got involved with the autism community through a circuitous route. There's a writer, very fine writer named Ron Suskind, who was a kid on the spectrum. And he's a great aficionado of Disney. And he knows the names of every actor that's voiced every character for Disney for the last 50 years. And so I got involved with them, and we did a great documentary based on a book that Ron wrote called Life Animated. And during that time, I met one of the genetic researchers at MIT who was working on autism. And it turns out that there's somebody in London who is either the I can't remember now if it's Sacha Baron Cohen's brother or his cousin that's doing the same genetic research. And Shining Time Station is a huge deal for a lot of Spectrum kids.
Yes,
so
definitely.
I get a lot of mail because of Jafar and because of Tito Swing and Shining Time Station. And my friend Owen, who's the first autistic kid that I met, Ron Suskind's son, Owen's best friend is a Shining Time Station freak. And the first time that I met him, I was invited to a Halloween party because it's Owen's favorite holiday every year. And I went to this, and Brian walked right up to me and said, "Do you remember the episode where Tito sang blah, 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 blah? Do you remember the episode where Schemer blah, 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 blah?" And I was like, it was kind of, I mean, it was mind boggling to me because I don't remember anything, thank God. And, so I found myself in this weird vortex because of Aladdin and Shining Time Station. There's this huge amount of love for both of those projects in the autism community. Autistic kids, they can tell you everything about it. You may know this, Rick, I don't know. It's a huge thing, and there you are.
No, I'm aware of it, and I'm honored by it. I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's terrific, actually.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We should all feel honored by it. But there was just something about that show that just spoke really deeply to that community to this day. I mean, it's quite remarkable, really.
Oh yeah, it goes on because they share everything with each other, and so it goes on. I mean, it keeps getting passed on to their friends and their friends' friends and their friends' brothers and sisters, and it's kind of amazing.
I think it's the heart of the show too. It was such a gentle show and very sincere, and I can tell just from chatting with you all, the environment that was on set that was fostered and how comfortable you felt. It came across. And it was my favorite show for a reason. Just watched it over and over and over. And it was just so nice to come back to. I was going to ask if any of you have, just on that note, any particular messages for the fans of Shining Time Station that are going to be watching this eagerly and excited to see all of you.
Our children, we love you.
If each of them would send me a nickel, I'd be very happy.
Brian, I was going to ask you, did you do one of Schemer's little songs, ditties that he did?
Yeah, I found the lyrics to a bunch of my songs, believe it or not. You know the one. He's a doer, he's a dreamer, he's absolutely schemer, and he's me, the wonderful me. Then I went to this other part I forgot about. There's something about me that is me that makes me so glad that I am me. And there's something about the things that I do that makes me so glad I'm me and not you. Oh, there's something about me.
I never heard that part.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, please don't get me wrong. It's just Schemer singing a song. I think you're all grand, but I'm glad I am who I am. Like that.
That's
well,
so
bravo!
cool.
It's a good note to close on.
It totally is. It totally is. Well, I want to thank all of you for your willingness to meet. And what have we got there? Oh, that's beautiful. What is that?
It's the sign off when we do shows.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate your openness to do this, and it's lovely hearing your stories and about the time that you had on the show, and the magic lives on. So yeah, online and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Yes. thanks, man.
Really great. Really, really lovely. It's wonderful to see you all.
Hi, everybody, and from Shining Time Station Jukebox.
Bye.
Bye from Shining Time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello, Didi and Brian and Rick and everyone. It's Jason. I just wanted to say hi. I'm so sorry I'm not available to participate in the podcast reunion. I hope to do one very soon. I just want to say hi to everybody and hope you're all doing well. Shining Time was one of the most important experiences I have ever had, and I have wonderful memories and fond feelings about all of you, and hope we all get to catch up soon. All right, thanks so much. See ya. Bye.
Reach for the speed, reach for the whistle, go where the rail may run. Reach for the words, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for